A special grand jury in Georgia probing former U.S. President Donald Trump's alleged attempts to overturn his 2020 election defeat in the state issued subpoenas Tuesday to Senator Lindsey Graham and Trump's former personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani. Other Trump legal team members, including John Eastman and Jenna Ellis, were also ordered to testify. Representatives of Graham and Giuliani did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Eastman and Ellis could not be reached for comment. The probe was launched after Trump's January 2, 2021 phone call pressuring Georgia's Secretary of State to overturn the state's election results based on unfounded claims of voter fraud.
If you count the legal votes, I easily win.
During the call, Trump urged Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger, a fellow Republican, to find enough votes to overturn his Georgia loss to Joe Biden.
And at the end of the day, President Trump came up short.
Trump has denied wrongdoing in the phone call. Legal experts have said Trump's phone calls may have violated at least 3 state election laws.
Niye kapatıyorsunuz ya? Yolu adam kapattı. Kaldır şunu, kaldır.
Stocks ended mixed Tuesday as investors kept their focus on the growth trajectory of the U.S. economy and awaited key economic data due out later this week, including minutes from the Federal Reserve's meeting last month and the June jobs report. The Dow slipped 0.4% while the S&P 500 closed up fractionally, but the Nasdaq surged, ending 1.75% higher. Michael Vogelzang is Chief Investment Officer at Cap Trust.
Clearly, the market is sort of looking at inflation as old news, and that worried and is worried that the Federal Reserve will continue to tighten interest rates and financial conditions so much that we end up in a recession. So there's a lot of debate, a lot of discussion around whether or not we're either already in a recession or one's right around the corner. And there's sort of pros and cons. But today's market activity is very much focused on that. We see energy down a lot, which is, of course, very cyclical. We see other cyclical industries down, materials, and we see things. Actually, the Nasdaq is up, which is typically thought of to be less cyclical. And I think the most important question for investors to decide as to whether or not Apple and Microsoft and Facebook and Amazon and Google and so on actually provide a shelter in an economic storm. And I think my guess is that over time, as the economy continues to slow, that we're going to see a little more demand for those stocks since they've sold off so much.
All of those big tech stocks surged Tuesday as Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google parent Alphabet, and Facebook owner Meta Platforms lifted the tech-heavy Nasdaq. Energy stocks hit 5-month lows as recession fears darkened the outlook for oil demand, and the materials sector was at a more-than-year low as a slump in metal prices hit mining shares. Finally, shares of Uber Technologies rose more than 5%, after launching its ride-hailing and platform in Israel as it continues to expand globally.
In his first-ever comments on a case that shocked Europe, the man accused of killing a prominent Maltese journalist has confessed to the crime in an interview with a Reuters reporter. Speaking from jail, George DiGiorgio said he would soon implicate others in plotting to assassinate Daphne Caruana Galizia. Caruana Galizia was killed in a car bombing in 2017 after leveling corruption allegations against prominent figures on the island. If he knew more about her, DiGiorgio said, he would have asked for more money to carry out the hit. His admission came after several attempts by his lawyers to secure a pardon in return for testimony. Until now, he had denied involvement in the killing. In 2017, Maltese authorities charged him, his brother, and an associate with murdering Caruana Galizia at the behest of one of the island's richest businessmen, Jorgen Fennick. DiGiorgio told Reuters he would plead guilty ahead of any jury trial and vowed not to, quote, go down alone.
In what may be the final blow for British Prime Minister Boris Johnson's premiership, two of his top ministers have announced their resignations. Finance Minister Rishi Sunak and Health Minister Sajid Javid posted letters on Twitter within minutes of each other on Tuesday, both questioning Johnson's capabilities to run an administration that adheres to standards.
Hello, Mr. Javid. How do you feel? How do you feel about
Good
your
evening. I'm just
resignation?
going to spend some time with my family. Thank you for coming.
It comes as Johnson deals with fresh controversy surrounding Deputy Chief Whip Chris Pincher.
I was aware back in 2019, I was made aware of a specific allegation against Chris Pincher that was resolved.
Pincher stepped down from his post last week amid complaints of sexual misconduct. The Prime Minister's office initially denied that Johnson knew anything specific about them.
And last week, when fresh allegations arose, the Prime Minister did not immediately recall the conversation in late 2019 about this incident. As soon as he was reminded, the Number 10 press office corrected their public lines.
Johnson survived a confidence vote last month, but 41% of Conservatives voted to remove him from office. Sunak and Javid had previously supported Johnson during months of scandal over his administration's conduct and a damning report into parties at his Downing Street office and residence that broke COVID-19 lockdown rules. In his post, Javid said many lawmakers have lost confidence in Johnson's ability to govern in the national interest.